Earlier this week, InfoRunners released a video in their series Command and Control. They asked what would it take to escort 3 whole seas through 3 systems which have little to no security. This is my video reply. Please note that I am no expert. This is speculation by a casual gamer. The reality after launch can be wildly different than what it is now and make my solutions completely ridiculous. But these types of thought experiments are how I enjoy the game today.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am your tube citizen, J Voodoo Child. Please excuse the upfront teaser and this self-promotion segment. I'm a new content creator and I'm trying to do all those tricks to share points of view with those interested in Star Citizen. This is where you can help. Subscribe, click the bell icon, like or dislike the video, even share it with other communities while respecting their rules on cross-promotions. But the most important thing is comment your point of view, and hopefully we can have constructive conversations on different topics that will help the next viewer. Signing up on my Patreon page will assist with equipment upgrades, and for those creating a new Star Citizen account, please use my referral code so you can get some extra in-game currency and goodies. This helps my account as well, so win-win. Anyway, enough of this, on with the show.
The first part of the solution is determining what and where the threats are. The whole sea is a massive cargo hauler. As such, most threats, I would think, are after the cargo. With the introduction of soft death in 3.18, there will be a lot of shoot-to-kill piracy, salvaging the hulks, and grabbing whatever cargo is around. The whole sea's design, however, does not suit that gameplay, because the salvage material from the ship is below normal, and the cargo is way above normal. Disabling, boarding, and taking over control of the ship, while more difficult, will likely yield better results from the prize. As far as where the threats will appear, I see 4 areas. QT interdiction while traveling, at rest stops when refueling or restocking, and this includes being boarded from the station itself, and then blockades from either side of a jump point. Each of these requires its own tactical counter. Scalability. While the question is specifically about escorting 3 whole seas, I wanted my answer to be flexible to other convoy sizes or compositions. The crew of a C2 each has 336 cargo. The whole B, 384. Using these numbers, a whole C could have a similar ratio for a fleet crew of 12 to 14. Certainly it can be argued that C2s and Bs should run with escorts themselves, but I'm sticking to this ratio because the value per unit of cargo, on average, will be less for the 4,608 cargo of a whole C. For one whole C, I suggest an escort of 2 Redeemers. Redeemers I see as ideal in this role. Small crew requirements, a small target to hit, and good firepower against small ships, which is ideal because I suspect pirates will be more swarm-like and less reliant on large ships. Having 2 escort ships also has its advantages, in that one is always ready, while the other is occupied with tasks like refueling and restocking. For traveling, I would set the QT speeds of all 3 ships differently, so that if the first encounters an interdiction, they can warn the others approaching to abort before they reach the ambush. Based on the situation, the second Redeemer could join the fight, even approaching the interdiction ships from the opposite side. Or if the fight is not winnable, have the second Redeemer lead the whole in a different QT vector. 2 whole Cs. The initial question wasn't clear on if the fleet has the option to take an alternate jump path to their destination. But with an escort size of 16, there is the option to rely entirely on avoidance with the use of scouts. For this fleet, I suggest a Gemini and a Liberator, with a Terrapin, a Mantis, and 3 Razor EXs. Please note that the Liberator Q&A clarified that the vehicle pads could be used by extra small ships like the Razor. The Gemini will travel with the hulls, and they are there solely to supply fuel for the small ships, as their weakness is range. The missiles help a little for combat, if that's encountered. The Mantis is there to prevent QT dampeners from using their scouts to QT on top of the hulls while the convoy is stationary, and allow the convoy precious moments to QT away. One Razor will travel with the hulls and lead the way for QTs to trigger possible interdictions. The Liberator will travel independently of the hulls, as the Lib's purpose is to station the Terrapin at the next rest stop for the convoy, such as a jump point, refueling station, or cargo exchange. A Razor will lead the Liberator on QTs, while the last Razor is being hand refueled in transit. At a jump point, a Razor could be used to peek at the far side to find blockades. If the next stop is hot with enemy activity, then the Terrapin can remain observing the situation in case it clears, while the Liberator and 2 Razors scout the alternative route. The 2 fleets would rubber band for the entire trip, avoiding encountering hostiles. To answer the original question, 3 hull seas, we have the option of punching through any obstacles instead of avoiding them. For this, we would have 2 Redeemers and a Polaris with an SRV. The SRV is there to tow away any ships that get disabled during combat. The Redeemers will QT just ahead of the fleet, just like escorting a single hull sea. However, with the Polaris as backup, combat should be far more winnable. With more than 3 hull seas, one can mix and match both avoidance and Kool-Aid style combat, or instead increase the capabilities to scout a second location or counter more combat situations. Some honorable mentions are a dropship team to secure a hostile gas station for the fleet to use, and the A2 with its downward-facing turrets to act as point defense and a barrier to the combat side of a hull. Thank you for watching. Much of this video is inspired by the conversation of the info runners. Likely, I've had a lot more time to consider the different angles than they did. If there are holes in my solutions, please comment below. Constructive conversations are always welcome, and I think we can all learn from one another as each of us has a different view of things.
Thank you for watching. If interested, please consider supporting the channel.